Game 6, last of the match here, and we have a black market on the board, which is very interesting. But outside of the black market, we don't have any source of plus actions, and the board really isn't too interesting. We have some trashing, Raze and Temple. Raze is also the obelisk pile, which is kind of strange. You get 2 points for every Raze in your deck, but I mean, after you've trashed with your Raze, you probably don't want it in your deck. So it's bit questionable how good Raze is for the obelisk pile, meaning like how many Razes can you really put into your deck? Um, yeah, so black market seems to be a nice thing to go for here. Again, this is the kind of board where it really just depends on what you pull out of the black market, and the big thing that the board is lacking is a source of plus actions. Also, like some kind of payload. There's no other payload on the board. You could play a temple to get points. That's a thing to do with your deck. Yeah, like when I say payload, I mean an objective your deck tries to achieve. So in this case, it could be to get points from temple, could be to play a black market lots of times and try to raid the black market to get the more favorable things. But outside of those things, there's just a bunch of money to play. It makes you wonder, excuse me, whether or not something like Courtyard Big Money is worth it. It might be if the black market pulls aren't the greatest thing in the world. It might be um, good enough to go for that. There's no attacks to slow you down. Anyways, we are both going to open with a Raze and um, a black market, and my opponent manages to buy a sentry on his previous turn, and here perhaps what I should have done was not trashed with the Raze and instead bought a sentry myself. Sentry here works well with Wishing Well, so that is your only source of draw on the board outside of, well, Courtyard, but Sentry can set up your Wishing Well, so they are 100% guaranteed to work. So perhaps I should have gone for a Sentry there. Instead, I pull a Forager out of the black market, which I'm very happy with. Very happy with. It will help my trashing uh, in addition to the couple raises that I have. Now here I purchased a watchtower. I believe this is a little bit premature for me. Perhaps better in that position was silver. The reason for my watchtower is the beautiful interaction it has with black market. You could buy something out the black market, top deck it, then draw into it. Very similar to University and Watchtower. My opponent turns up on Overlord, which really isn't that great on this board. Also, neither is the Rabble nor the Salvager until we find some source of plus action. There my opponent goes for the silver. I also want the silver because I need it to buy things. I don't have enough money to pull nice things out of the black market yet. So much so that I'm not gonna take the watchtower here. I take the copper just so that I might be able to get something useful out of the black market. So now I'm going to pick up the silver. Hopefully to get some nice things out of the black market. Primarily we're looking for a village. We're looking for a village. So his sentries, he has a couple sentries now, but his one sentry early, coupled with his races, have allowed him to trash down quite a bit, and he finds the first village, a plaza, so that's good for him. That's good for him, and he picks up a lighthouse. Not bad at all. You don't know what's coming in the black market. You know, it doesn't hurt to be prepared for Mountebank or Witch or Goons or something. The lighthouse is fine, I think. There I go for a Wishing Well just to hopefully start to draw some cards. Yeah, that's the only reason I went for the Wishing Well. Although with all this black market stuff around, and it's just not very reliable to draw cards unless you have the Sentry. Look at that pull. Governor goes out of the deck, so that's real good for my opponent, and he gets another black market down to buy a fishing village. So there's a couple good pulls for him there. And in fact, Mixinock after the game said that he felt like at that point in the game, my opponent had a definite advantage over me. So he did play his deck a little bit differently, right? He put two black markets into his deck. I only put the one thinking, well, look, I don't have enough actions to support it. But he put the two of them there, and as a result, you know, he was able to make use of both of them on that turn. I'm finally able to get a village, a lost city, very good village. Also, you notice that I trashed my Razes earlier there. I felt like that was a bit reckless after the game to go trashing the Razes at that point. Probably I could have trashed a couple more coppers with them, but I decided to get rid of it to go looking for something that would help me with my black market pull. My opponent shows me Swindler, and that is awful. That is awful. You get one copy or something from the black market, and the Swindler just can deprive you of that singular copy. So here my opponent now chooses to gain gold with his governor. I am going to get rid of the silver. One, I'm not thin enough to make use of that silver well enough, and two, it makes my forager a little bit better. So I'm happy to trash that one silver. Perhaps later if he gets puts more silver on my deck, maybe then I'll accept it. So now I go for the second black market, knowing that, well, I can play both of them potentially. And they do show up here. I don't necessarily want to or have to play the Watchtower. It's mostly there really for top decking purposes. And especially against his governor drawing cards, it isn't the greatest thing ever. For card draw, that is. So now my opponent pulls a replace out of the black market, and the replaced coupled with the governor is going to put him in a good position to finish the game. He's going to put him in a good position to finish the game here, meaning he can, you know, remodel goals into silver with either his governor or his replace. The replace could also turn provinces into provinces, so he has a lot more control on when the province pile goes down at this point in the game. So here, yeah, village is important. We'll buy those things. So I get the workers village, which is nice. There's a plus buy in it. And there's also a highway. Also, I've noticed there's been 3 or 4 potion cards that's gone by. Golem has gone by. I believe Scrying Pool has also gone by. Now University. Vineyard has gone by as well. There's a lot of potion cards for the black market. Not a great draw for me here. Obviously, I was hoping his governor would draw me into something useful. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So this is the price I have to pay for getting rid of my Razes a bit too early, right? This is the cost of the reckless decision. So scheme for my opponent is excellent. Dungeon would have also been just as fine. He is more trash than me. His sentries, I haven't paid attention to how well his sentries did, but he did have a sentry and a Raze, so he was able to get thin by this point in the game. And really, from here on out, it's just a very perhaps here I should have considered counterfeit just to trash a little bit more, but the village, man, the village is just too important for me not to get it. Especially coupled with Watchtower. Hamlet is very, very nice. A very, very nice pickup. So one other thing I forgot in this game is that he has a Swindler in his deck, and I'm taking 0 precautions against that. I completely forgot that he had the Swindler. He didn't play it until much later, and only after he played it, I decided to go get a lighthouse and be somewhat defended from it. But I did forget about that. That's bad. I think it comes out here, and he pulls Fairgrounds out to the black market, which is great. Sort of a little competition with himself to see how much points he could get out of that Fairgrounds. Yeah, here comes the Swindler, and it hits my Forager, my only source of trashing at this point in the game. Only source of trashing, and that is awful. I'm not thin enough yet. I will have to go back and buy Razes or Sentries or something. That is not good at all. I was really hoping that the Forager could, you know, get me through my trashing for the rest of the game, but that isn't going to happen. So what I was going to say before is that from this point on, oh well, from when I said that, from that point on, it is a you know, you've seen these videos where people fall in slow motion. This is kind of what happens to me in this game here. I am slowly falling behind in this game. My opponent is incrementally gaining an advantage and is, you know, slowly closing me out of the game. The outpost is very, very helpful here, so I do pick it up. Lighthouse to defend finally, and at this point, like I said, I need the Raze to start back trashing, right? But I'm also considering picking up a potion. Yeah, I not for the Philosopher's Stone on the board, but to go fishing in the black market. Like if I want to have a chance in this game, I need to start you know, looking for alternative sources of victory points because my opponent has pretty good control over the province pile. I saw there was a vineyard in the black market. I also saw there was university and scrying pool and golem. I will happily accept a golem. Wild hunt is decent for my opponent because he has total control over that. No, it doesn't work, right? Because there's no supply pile to put the tokens on. Never mind me. Never mind me. So he's stringing together some nice black market watchtower stuff here, drawing his whole deck. Um, he kills my lighthouse, my poor lighthouse, and he's gonna start buying um, provinces at this point in the game. He picks up one here and another gold, so that lets him double province. He only has the 1+ buy, which is something in my favor, right? I have more plus buy than him, for sure, so his buys are restricting him, but I don't really know how much time that could buy me in this game. So, at this point, I feel lost, right? I'm pretty sure I'm lost, but I'm, what, 2-3 down in the match, and I really, really would like to at least finish 3 all in this match. So, speaking of which, I don't think I mentioned earlier, but the IGG game that I described, there was no kingdom for. He won that game. He won that game. So that's why I'm down by 2-3 at this point in the match. So this first outpost isn't great. Well, my deck isn't great, so I didn't really expect too much from that outpost, but I am able to clean up a little bit, and I don't know, man, maybe he'll stall at some point. I was hoping he would stall, but he just has too many, he's too clean. He's too clean, and he has this Sentry plus Wishing Well thing to draw. He also has the Governors to draw, so he's just a little bit too clean. He also has the Watchtower to draw, so drawing him a lot of cards. Here comes Replace. He gets a province, junks me as well. You know, I'm not in the best shape to deal with that anyways. And he picks up the final village from the black market, which is the native village. So whatever actions I have now, I'm stuck with it. Can't get anything else, so he's restrained me in that regard. I do have 3 black markets in my deck now, but I really don't think I could play all 3 of them given the other terminals in my deck. The outpost seems like a must play. Seems like a must play at this point. Hunting Party is very nice for my cause. And yeah, what are the other terminals in my deck? Well, the Watchtower I'm playing now for draw, obviously. I would like to play as many black markets as possible, but I mean, it really can't be helped if I have other more important action cards to play, right? Really can't be helped too much. Like here, kind of constrained on the actions, right? I really want to play the outpost. Um, Finally picking up a potion that is a pipe dream potion. I really don't know how far that potion will get me, but outpost is nice with the what is this called? The watchtower, right? So if by some miracle I draw some village and watchtower in my outpost turn, then I could potentially kick off, you know, that's pretty nice. Here, between altar and butcher, right? I go for the altar because yeah, alternative VP, duchies and dukes, man, so that's what we have to play for at this point in the game and just hope that he chokes on green. Yeah, I don't have too many other plays at this point in the game. He uses Governor for draw, which I'm happy about. His Swindler misses here. I say misses, he only turns a copper into a curse. Is all the same to me, just you would be offered to the altar anyway. So one nice thing with the highway and the altar is that I could have gained that gold. Perhaps I should have gained that gold just to get some more buying power. Perhaps that's something I could have considered, but this far into the game I thought, you know, you should start scoring some points, so let's go do that instead. So here I'm trying to fish for something with a potion in it out of the black market. No such luck, but I'll take the dungeon happily. I will take the dungeon. It helps a little bit with my watchtower stuff. You know, it'll reduce my hand size is what I'm trying to say here. So out comes this Watchtower for put a full draw. Still hurting on the actions here. I think I didn't see one of my villagers, not sure. But yeah, the outpost has to be played, right? The more turns I have, um, better chance I have of coming back into the game. So top decking a couple Razes, not for the obelisk points, but to try and kickstart my outpost turn. So I do get rid of a black market there because I noticed now that I am not really able to play all the black markets in my deck. So in that case, let me make the most use of it, which is, you know, feeding it to Razes. Oh well, what can you do? So like I said, right, most of this, the turns now are very low. I pulled Scry and pull out of the deck. I was like tremendously happy about that. That helps so much. If I had pulled a Scheme plus Scry and pull out of the black market deck, I would have been over the moon. That is tremendous. A Scry and pull, a single Scry and pull at this point in the game draws nearly everything on a good, like not even a good, a reasonable stacking of the deck here. Brilliant, brilliant. Very happy to see it in my opening hand here. I was really fishing for a vineyard, but I'll take this grind pool. I will take this grind pool. The more actions I can put into my deck, the more that vineyard could be worth, right? Start picking up duchies at this point. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm just very behind, right? My opponent just has too much control over when the provinces will go down. He turns another gold into a province here, so you know, not looking good for me at this point. The curses, I don't really mind the curses at this point. I could just offer them up to the altar and get duchies out of them. I don't think my deck will break just yet, especially with the Scrying Pool around. Scrying Pool is so massive, such a big player. Look at that, one single copy of a Scrying Pool in this deck, and it gives it just so much more robustness. Well, at least in my mind. I don't know about like actually. Here, look, my opponent flips the vineyard, man. Oh man, I wish I could have picked up the vineyard there, but oh well. It means I have to cycle through till the end of the black market. The black market deck shuffles in this version online once you get to the end of it. So I have to get to the end and then it shuffles and then it might be somewhere near the top hopefully. Anyways, look at this. Look at this. This is what Scrying Pool is good for. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Brilliant Scrying Pool. No complaints whatsoever. I have all the flexibility in the world. It does make the Watchtower draw kinda bad, but I mean I nearly drew everything, so I don't really need to draw with the Watchtower at this point in the game. So perhaps I should be using my Razes to trash the Watchtowers opportunistically, of course. Not just you know, it still could be useful like on an outpost turn, village Watchtower draw stuff, man. That's helpful. Very helpful. So here I'm going to go look in the black market for something that might help me. I could draw whatever it is I pull from the black market. Nothing too helpful. Stonemason might be, but I don't really have too many high value cards to trash. Could buy a gold and trash it for 2 duchies. That might be really useful. But I take the Mystic instead. Is a bit of money, and I can guarantee that it works with my wishing wells sometimes, or even just discarding with dungeon. If I've drawn my deck or something, I can guarantee 100% what is in at the top of my deck. So yeah, just top decking some stuff here, trying to kick off my not watchtower, my outpost turn. So I do have a watchtower, I put that there, so I just need to find a village. That's not a village. Raze, can you find me a village? Oh no. No, you can't. So I do pick up a duchy. Not the worst outpost turn in the world, but I want much more from my outpost turns at this point. So what my opponent ends up doing here, he starts to go after duchies at this point. I mean, that's fine too. That also wins. He trashes. Not he trashes, but my potion is trashed rather. He gives me a temple. And I choose not to do anything with the temple, not to trash the temple, rather I top deck the temple thinking, well, that's Raze food. I could use it with the Raze in my hand right here. But losing that potion was losing my last thread of hope there. There was this I was just hopeful that maybe the vineyard might be able to pull me through or something. Get me close to him on points. I don't know. That was probably still too much to expect from a single vineyard, but now that the potion is definitely out of my deck, yeah, can't even pick up the vineyard, right? And there's no time to go after another potion. Just have to do what I can at this point. I don't want to empty duchies because the wishing well pile is pretty easy for him to empty. He has um, the replace. He has two buys. That could be next turn. I do see some green cards here. It will be a farmland, I believe. A farmland, and I'll trash the temple to pick up, yeah, a gold. Can't pick up anything else, right? That'll get me a little bit of money. Ah, very, very tough position. I should have resigned, like ages ago. I should have resigned, but we fight, right? We fight, we struggle. You never know what could happen in a card game. Sometimes you could know what happens. It's like 100% guaranteed, but I don't know. I don't know. I didn't want to. I didn't want to give up that easily this time, so we play on. We play on. I do buy back the potion because I don't want to touch the duchies. Perhaps Duke is a better play at that point. I do get a miracle draw here. I do get a miracle draw with the Workers Village as well as the Watchtower, but doesn't do too much. Yeah, my deck is starting to stall here now, so not much I could hope for, except that I top deck this Scrying Pool every single turn. That might be helpful. But in short order, my opponent closes out the game, I believe. He gets the last duchy, and... Or does he get the last duchy? Or he empties the provinces or gets the duchy and the three wishing wells? Nah, it's the duchy and the three wishing wells, and the swindler helps him with it. He turns one of my three course into a wishing well, and he purchases the last two. You'll see how it finishes here. So we end the match with 2 points only. Yeah, I felt like a couple of the early games were pretty harsh, but aside from that, I mean, this game I was reckless with trashing, and yeah, a couple other points I could still brush up on. Anyways, we have one more match for the season, so I will see you then. Thank you for watching.